Hello, and welcome to Ear of the Dragon, a new podcast presented by Mad Dragon Music Group. Our goals are to interview artists that we believe deserve more attention, to incite some sort of conversation, and to indulge in our own passions by inviting guests that we are genuinely interested in. On this oh-so-crucial second episode, we're bringing you Andrew Katz. He is known as his role as a drummer for the band Car Seat Headrest, but to the Zoomers out there, he is known as One Trait Danger. He has released 2 albums thus far, most recently in 2019, that have introduced us to his technical prowess in Ableton, as well as his music industry insider sense of humor. Tonight, One Trait Danger will play at Kung Fu Necktie here in Philadelphia, and on what is their first official tour. Andrew, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Dragon Boys. I love this. It's great.
So,
Can I tell everyone where we are right now?
Sure.
We're in, what is it called? Sancho Pistola's, a great Mexican restaurant in the northeast side of Philly, near Kung Fu Necktie. I'm currently eating nachos. Will's munching on a little taco over here. Thanks for having us, guys.
Yeah. So I want to start by asking you about how the show was last night. I know we talked a little earlier about it, but
the show was great. Yeah, it was a little sloppy, as tonight will probably be too. But the set's evolving. We're practicing our shit. But yeah, the crowd was great. They were super into it. And I'm hoping Philly can bring it even harder.
Nice. How did y'all decide to route this tour? It seems pretty short, and it's your first tour, anyways.
I didn't route any of it. I guess our manager Mike did. Yeah, we had the final show we had planned. The shorter the better. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear Will over there. Yeah, everything he says, I'll just repeat. But, yeah, I mean, this is sort of just a test run for fun, We're just having a good time out here.
Have you been to any of these venues before?
No. We played Johnny Brenda's years ago, which is right around the corner, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But no, none of these.
I'm just curious, y'all do anything differently to prepare for a night like this as opposed to a night with Car Seat Headrest, or?
Huh. We do nothing. That's the beauty of it. No, I mean, getting the One Trait Danger set together actually does take time. And we like to make changes to it and stuff. Like, hopefully after soundcheck today, we've got a few ideas that we'd like to change from last night to tonight. And if I can program it in time, we'll do it. Yeah, I mean, it's a simple setup. Yeah, it's just...
What's your gear look like?
I mean, the whole show can fit in my backpack. So it's an Ableton Push 2 controller connected to my computer, running Ableton, audio interface, and then the venue will just supply us with 2 mics, and that's the whole show.
Nice. Have you had, any unexplained technical issues happen that just kind of, by virtue of running off a laptop?
No, thankfully not yet. I mean, we're not running a redundant system with this. I mean, if the show fails, we're fucked. Though we have all the tracks bounced, so worst case scenario, we could just play it off an iPod, because obviously we'd still want the show to continue in some fashion, but it would be more like karaoke at that point, not like a real show.
Yeah.
On the laptop. I'm assuming the laptop wouldn't actually die, but maybe something happens. But yeah, I should put those on Google Drive so I can't access them on my phone.
How much of your rig do you use to record?
That's the same computer I use to record all the tracks, yeah.
Do you just do it just with the computer? Do you add, I don't know, do you have any of the outboard gear that you might have on stage when you record?
No, I actually don't really use the Push when I record. The Push is really best for live stuff. That's what it's meant for. But yeah, I mean, my home setup is just external audio interface and computer and then just monitor speakers.
Do you feel more comfortable recording music at home or on the road?
Well, it depends. I'm not uncomfortable recording random crazy vocals in a green room, but if you want a song to sound sonically good, you need to be in a quiet space to do it, and typically you're not in quiet spaces in green rooms.
But does being on the road lend itself to more downtime to record stuff?
Absolutely. That's exactly how One Trait Danger came to be. Car Seat has a lot of sitting around time, and I get bored, and I like to fuck around in Ableton, and that's where all that stuff comes from.
How has your workflow evolved in Ableton over your years of
I've gotten a good question. I like these questions. I've gotten much better at Ableton over the years. When you first start in a DAW, you're brain dead, right? You have no idea how to even arm 2 tracks to record. It's hard. You got to figure it out. And once you get it figured out and you start learning hotkeys and stuff, then your workflow really starts to expand. And then that's when it gets fun, right? You have an idea in your head, and you can just kind of get it out real quick before you forget about it.
Do you have like a folder of ongoing songs, or do you just kind of?
I'm sitting on a ton of like 8-bar loops and
just ideas,
half-finished tracks or full tracks with no lyrics on them. Just
And how do you decide when it's finished?
When I like it. Well, or I'm sick of working on it.
That's when I come in. He'll usually show me something, and he'll want it to be finished, and then I'll tell him what needs to be improved, and we go from there.
Two heads are better than one.
Yeah, Will's very good at quality control. So I'll have a track that I think is close or I really like, and Will totally fuck my day up and say, no, you got to re-gut this whole thing and redo it. But it's usually for the best because he understands song structure very well.
So before we had anything from One Trait Danger released, we were introduced to the character Tim Schenectady.
Tim Schenectady,
from Dirt Plug TV. Who does Tim really work for? Does he work for the media or does he work for the people?
Well, yeah, he really just works for Dirt Plug News.
So the media.
I have this I kind of like the idea that his name is actually Tim Schenectady Pitchfork News. Like that's his full name. He doesn't actually work for Pitchfork News.
That makes sense.
No, he's a Dirt Plug employee, and he's a journalist that doesn't know how to read. His origins are mysterious, and that's all I'll say about him.
Do you think any real-life encounters with journalists have inspired the character?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. He's the embodiment of journalism, music journalism specifically.
So in our days of limited touring, we've driven around upstate New York and seen a town called Schenectady. I'm wondering if there's any relation.
That's exactly where
Really?
Tim Schenectady came from. We drove by a sign, and then we went to a pit. We had lunch. We had lunch next to the sign that was Schenectady, New York. And I loved that name. I was like, yeah.
It's a nice spelling.
I came up with that at that diner. It was a diner where like the fruit bowl was literally like half of a cantaloupe that they just put on the table, and you're just supposed to eat half a cantaloupe with a spoon. Yeah. Yeah, go to Schenectady. You can get that there.
You heard that. Go to Schenectady. So your music has also introduced several other characters, each of them with their own voice and a place within the whole narrative. So let's start with One Trait himself. Where did the name come from?
I'll let Will answer that one.
Well, you know where the name came from because that was another road sign, actually. We were in France, and I think specifically the border or when you take the channel from UK into France, there's a sign that says One Trait Danger, Two Trait Security, and that is referring to the distance between cars. So trait means line in French, and so you're supposed to keep 2 lines between yourself and the other car, or else it's dangerous. But we were just looking for a cool sounding name, and that was cool sounding. When we were just looking for a name for the project at the time.
And it just hit you.
It's ended up being a character as well, but still kind of in development what exactly his role is in all this.
So it seems like One Trait is the protagonist. Are there any other good guys?
Stoney.
Stoney? I love
Yeah.
Stoney.
Stoney is definitely a protagonist. I'm trying to think of any other characters. I mean, Multiple Computer Mark, I can't say he's a protagonist. He's just sort of like he's just kind of there. But yeah, I mean, it's just, we come up with these funny characters and we put them in songs.
What about, like, Cossette?
Cossette?
Yeah.
The bully? Yeah, I mean, he's the millennial, the future bully who steals your Bitcoin instead of your lunch money, And, yeah, he's based off of our guitarist. Because I thought Ethan would be a funny bully because he's just so not a bully. And that turning him into one in my world just seemed so funny because he's not the kind of guy that would beat anybody up or do anything harmful to somebody. So flipping it on its head is just really comical to me. It's more of an inside joke than anything.
Would you say that the Glass Boys act as villains in the universe?
No, Glass Boys are just kind of a shitty band.
Do they represent anything though? That like
They represent plenty, but we won't talk about that.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask if you have any
No,
legitimate
what
beef.
I will say is they don't represent Mac DeMarco. They
Don't
represent people that rip Mac DeMarco off.
Gotcha, and there's a lot of those.
Yeah.
What do you think he'd say in response?
Our manager just asked that. Yeah, I mean, my thoughts on it are like, because our manager asked us, he's like, hey, have you shown Mac DeMarco the Glass Boys track? I'm like, well, first of all,
No.
I don't have Mac DeMarco's fucking number. Second of all, why would I show him this? And third of all, I think if he saw it, he would just laugh it off and forget about it 2 minutes later.
Yeah, no,
you know?
he's got other things in his world.
Yeah, but hopefully the idea is he could at least get a chuckle out of it, you know? I'd want him to find it funny. My thought is he would not find it very funny. He's above that, you know?
Yeah.
It's Mac DeMarco.
You name dropped Kevin Parker as well. Do you have any thoughts on the new record, The Slow Rush?
Oh, God. We just listened to that in the car on the way here today. I've got a lot of thoughts on that.
I'm curious what you think.
I'm trying to think of anything good. The drums and the bass were mixed well. I'll say that.
That's fair. I recently did a little deep dive on the Wikipedia page for Matador, and I noticed that the last name on their roster is What Trait Danger.
No way. I got up on the wiki?
Yeah, you don't have
because Matador doesn't make the wiki. Right.
you don't have a hyperlink, but you're up there.
Yeah, it's because I'm like surely not signed by Matador, but I just when I was putting the albums up on Spotify, I noticed that you could enter in a record label name because like you use DistroKid, right? So you enter in a record label name, and I was just like, well, I'll just put Matador. Like, why the fuck not, right? So I did, and everyone thought we got signed by Matador, and Matador is good, you know, funny enough to play along with the joke, and they basically said, yeah, I guess we'll just leave that up because why not? It's free publicity for them.
Now, do you think, like, if anything were to ever actually be put in motion with Matador, would you do any release?
I mean, if Matador wants to pay me like $1 million, yeah, I'll do whatever they want. I mean, isn't that how this works? You give me a shitload of money and then I give you a song? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I'm shooting for the stars. I'm going major label. You know, I'm waiting for Sony. Isn't the owner of Sony like Don Sony or whatever? I want Don Sony to call me and, you know, oh, it's Jim Sony. Yeah, that's right. Jim Sony to call me. Be like, hey, it's Sony. I want you to come to my office. I got a deal for you. It's big. Mr. Sony. You know, and then he sits you down. He puts his hand on your shoulder. He says, you want to become part of the Sony family? You got to do a thing or two for me. Mr. Sony, there it is. Yeah, so, I mean, I would love a label deal, but, you know, it's probably never going to happen. But we're still having fun with it for sure.
So, when y'all put out One Trait High on the Bitcoin flash drive, I thought that was a really creative way to release music.
Thank you.
I never bought one, but I've heard how intricate those puzzles
You
are.
motherfucker. Yeah, so the Bitcoin puzzle was cool. It was like a really simple, like, finder puzzle, like folders within folders, and you got to kind of solve a maze of folders. And there's secret songs and stuff in there. And then I wanted to up the idea. What was that? You actually came up with the flash drive idea. I came up with a puzzle before we even had the flash drives in mind.
Did you code it yourself?
Well, that puzzle, you didn't have to code it. It's like you just
But did
create
you write the
files.
code?
Yeah. I mean, I made it. No, what he did was he made the. So I know a guy who knows how to code in Python, and what I asked him to do was to make within this like folder puzzle thing, this file that says like do not open or whatever, like virus. And so of course everyone's gonna open it, and like I literally installed a virus on it, had him install a virus, but it's not like a malignant virus that's gonna fuck your computer
Just
up.
a little
it was just
virus.
like a little virus. Like, but by definition it is a virus. But all it did when you opened it was it opened like 30 Safari windows and then like turned your volume and your brightness up and down. It made your computer look like it was having a heart attack, but then it stopped like 10 seconds later. So like it wasn't actually fucking your computer up, but it was surely a virus. That was the Cosset pop-up. Yeah, so the Safari windows had pictures of the bully Cosset in it like he was hacking it. And then for One Trait World Tour, I wanted to step up the idea, and so I ended up making my own video game. and that was much more involved and did not pay off at all. I thought the game. I'm glad that I made it. It was an interesting experience. I'm glad I did it, but I'll never ever make another game again. It was just too much work.
Yeah. So I remember when Twin Fantasy was about to come out, and y'all intentionally leaked it, and instead uploaded the audio for One Trait High and like changed the length of the song to match the time codes of the Twin Fantasy tracks. Whose idea was that?
That must have been you. Yeah. That must have been. I'll let Will talk about that.
Yeah, I forget. Well, because we had the album, One Trait album, basically finished, and I guess we put that out the same day as Twin Fantasy. But I just figured it'd be an extra little treat for anyone who was looking for a leak of the Twin Fantasy.
You caught him in a trap.
Got him.
Were any of your songs actually recorded on a plane?
Banger on a Plane wasn't. The vocals weren't recorded on the plane because obviously it'd be too loud, but the track was made on a flight. Yeah.
It sounds like something someone would make with headphones on a plane, like just going crazy for 5 hours.
Right? Yeah. It was a good time.
So tonight you're playing here at Kung Fu Necktie, and Kung Fu Necktie often sticks to 21-plus shows, and you all decided to make this one an all-ages event. Do you remember ever wanting to go to shows when you were younger and not being let in?
Absolutely not. No, I was not an avid showgoer when I was under the age of 18. No. Like, my first concert ever, I was in, like, middle school, and it was a fucking Maroon 5 concert at, like, a huge event center, you know? Like, I was not a concert person at all until I got older.
Can you tell us if there's any One Trait music coming soon?
Hopefully in 2020, that's the plan. Gonna release some in 2020. Who knows what it's gonna be, why it's going to be, when it's going to be, but sometime in 2020.
Will it follow previous releases and having a trend of a concept?
Probably. I would assume so. And probably some sort of entertainment to go along with it. I just haven't figured out what, because I'm goddamn not making another game, so got to get creative here.
Did you consider enlisting outside help other than Will to help put it all together, or do you want to keep it just in your
I mean, if someone
team?
wants to make a One Trait Ninja video game with me, that'd be sick. If I could just tell them what to do and they do it. The thing is, like, I don't know anyone that can do that. I mean, I enlisted help for the last one, too. Like, my game, I finished the game, but I didn't know how to, like, optimize a video game at all. I didn't even know that was something you had to think about. So when I was creating it, I was making it super convoluted and difficult for the computer to process. Obviously, I didn't know what I was doing. And so I went on Twitter and was like, does anybody know how to fucking optimize a video game to make it not run terribly? And this guy got back to me, a guy named Ben Walker, super nice guy. And he came over to my house, like, randomly. He's like, please don't murder me. And I was like, definitely ditto on that one. And he came over to my house, and he just, like, sat down with me for a couple hours and fixed my game. Apparently, it was super easy to optimize because he did it really quickly. But, yeah, so I've enlisted outside help before, but obviously the main creation comes from me, so I'm not making another video game, if that's what you're asking.
No. So before we wrap up, I want to shoot off some rapid-fire questions and get your on-the-spot opinions.
Yeah.
You guys ready? What's your go-to Taco Bell order?
Chalupa, cheesy gordita crunch, crunchy taco, and if I'm feeling frisky, a caramel apple empanada.
Well, what I've been doing is the cheesy rice and bean burrito, but you take out the cheese that they put on it and put in the cheese from the bean burrito order, and basically make it a bean burrito, except if you do the cheesy rice and bean burrito, you can toast it or grill it.
Grill it up.
What's your favorite flavor of ice cream?
I don't eat ice cream.
Caramel.
Who's your first favorite band?
Corn.
Weird Al.
Favorite Ableton plugin?
Serum. Well, that's not an Ableton plugin. Do you mean, can I do third party, or are you talking native
Sure.
plugins? Because native, glue compressor, no doubt. Third party, Serum.
No comment.
He doesn't know.
Favorite
anything.
Marvel Cinematic Universe movie?
Don't ask me that.
Xbox or PlayStation?
PlayStation. Good. That's a good question.
Team Edward or Team Jacob?
I don't know what you mean by that. Continue.
Have you ever eaten a Stromboli?
Yeah, I love Stromboli.
No, I haven't actually.
Does
good.
it belong
It's
to
like
Philadelphia?
it's like a Hot Pocket, but good. Does it? I don't know where the fuck Stromboli belongs. It belongs in my fucking mouth. It belongs
It's
right in my
disputed
mouth.
between Philadelphia and Spokane, Washington.
Really?
Yeah, they
What about
also claim
Italy?
it.
You know, I think they have some contention here. Shit,
Indica or sativa?
hybrid, motherfucker.
Favorite dragon in a film?
Dude, no. What? Do you have one? What's your favorite dragon in a film?
Dragon from Shrek.
Oh, okay. I couldn't even think of one. Yeah, sure. Dragon from Shrek.
All right, last one. If you had to listen to one band's discography on a desert island for the rest of your life, who would you choose?
One Trade Danger. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for being on the show. I'm glad we could make this work. I hope you have a safe rest of your tour, and everyone at home listening should stream One Straight World Tour out everywhere via Matador Records. I'm excited for the show tonight. Thanks again for being here. My name is Evan, and we will catch you next time on Ear of the Dragon.